Hello. Thank you for joining us today for this presentation where we will be talking about some very interesting business model and a new opportunity that's developing. I'd like to thank the audience and the organizers of Decarb Connect Digital Festival. My name is Aniruddha Sharma. I'm co-founder and CEO of Carbon Clean Solutions, a company that's developing breakthrough technologies that will help achieve industrial decarbonization at an affordable cost of $30 per ton. As a company, we started our business in the UK with funding from the UK government. And very recently, we've been able to commercialize the technology and receive some very strong support from our investors and from our partners. Today, I'm also joined by my co-host, Siri Hogan from Equinor, and we will be talking about delivering a very capital light and affordable CCUS as a service business model. Siri, over to you.
Thank you, Anirudh. I'm Siri Hoven, and I work for Equinor as an investment manager in the corporate venture unit. And for those of you not familiar with Equinor, we are an energy company with a large oil and gas position and a rapid growth in renewable energy, particularly in offshore wind. And as Anirudh and I will tell you today, Equinor and Carbon Clean are both working to provide affordable and flexible carbon capture and storage as a service to large emitters, and our different services tie very well together. We are convinced that it is possible to scale up CCS to the large scale needed, but the scale needed can be compared to the activity level of the oil and gas industry today. But it takes time, so we must act now. Fortunately, we have already worked for years to test and prove the solution, so we have a lot of experience with this technology. Equinor has implemented CCS at some of our fields. So Sleipner and Snøhvit, as you see in this slide, are the two in Norway. By now, we have 25 years of operational experience. The most important takeaway from that is that CCS can be done in a controlled and safe manner. Equinor is also a partner at the Technology Center Mongstad. This is the largest test facility of CO2 capture technology in the world. So the technology are tested at the very final stage before being offered to the market. And Anirudh, you were testing Carbon Clean technology at TCM.
Absolutely, Siri. TCM is one of the best facilities where we've taken our technology and demonstrated the technology before commercialization. So what exactly is the technology and what are we doing? Carbon Clean Solutions is revolutionizing the industrial decarbonization. If you look at the challenges of industrial sector, which could be from cement, steel, energy from waste, chemicals, or refining industry, there are a couple of challenges they face. One is the space. Real estate is really expensive at all these sites. And number two, cost of carbon capture today or cost of decarbonizing them is really expensive. It's really, really high today. So what our company is doing is we are solving this problem by compressing the size of the equipment by up to 10 times. We are modularizing the carbon capture kit, which will allow us to scale faster, help the industrial customers get to their aimed decarbonization target, and that too at a cost of $30 per ton. Our product roadmap, and I think this is really where the support we've received from TCM comes into play and comes in really, really handy. So like I mentioned at the start of the presentation, we started in the UK in 2012 with support from the British government, really developing on the basics, starting from the solvents and then getting to the process as we move forward through the phase of development. In 2015, we demonstrated the technology at the TCM in Mongstad and really got some very valuable feedback that would allow us to further commercialize the technology. We started then rolling out our first generation or Gen 1 modularized technology in Europe, specifically in Germany. And then we commercialized it in India as well, where today we operate world's largest carbon capture green chemicals unit, where we produce chemicals from captured CO2. And this is sold to international companies, which is a great example of circular economy delivered in a very, very price sensitive market. Our strategy now is focused on expansion. So we want to grow, we want to get to more and more companies, more and more customers. and showcase that it is possible to further reduce the cost of carbon capture. And in next 18 months, we are very much focused on bringing out this new product, which we think will potentially revolutionize the industrial CCUS space. See, over to you.
Yeah, so as already alluded to, the CCS technology works and has been proven through several industrial projects over many years. So the technology is not a barrier that prevents the broad implementation of CCS from happening. The problem is that to date, it has been much cheaper to emit CO2 into the atmosphere than to capture and store it. However, this is something that is about to change. So climate ambitions are growing globally as we speak, and politicians are now shaping actions that will support the ambitions. So these actions take the form of funding and development of regulatory and commercial framework for solutions. So now the industry must deliver solutions at scale and speed necessary. And Equinor is prioritizing the areas where we can bring scale and significant impact. So this slide shows Equinor's project portfolio in which we target the energy intensive segments that are hard to abate and that cannot be solved by renewable solutions and battery alone. You can see that we have a lot of focus on hydrogen projects. We are addressing the maritime sector, heavy industries such as steel and cement, and power sectors. But let me draw your attention to the Northern Lights project, which is all about offering the CO2 solution to industry. So Northern Light, which is a joint venture between Equinor, Total, and Shell, stands out. It's different from all other projects in operation. And why is that? There are three unique factors with Northern Light. One, the project is based on a ship solution, implying that CO2 can be collected all around ports of Europe. Two, the subsurface storage has a large potential for scale-up, storing a significant amount of CO2. And three, an essential part of the business model for Northern Light is about providing CO2 transport and storage as a service for industry that wants to decarbonize. And as I will show you in a minute, there are many potential customers out there. 2020 was a historic year also for Northern Light project, and we reached many important milestones. We built the injection template and put it into the ocean. We drilled a well and confirmed the good storage properties. Conditional investment decisions were made by all industrial partners. Tons of industries in Europe are exploring the opportunity to use the CO2 transport and storage service. And finally, the Norwegian government announced that the funding is formally approved. So on this map, you can see the potential CO2 customers that are in reach of the Northern Light project. So more than 350 million tons per annum from industry is mapped. Right now, the Northern Light project is in dialogue with these potential customers in Europe, exploring the opportunity to use the CO2 transport and storage service. And there is huge interest. We have learned that the first movers are waste to energy, cement, refineries, and steel. There is a potential market out there on a significant scale. And Anirudh, I believe this is according to your experience, and that these are potential customers to you.
Absolutely, Siri. I mean, in fact, the market opportunity in general is huge as far as CCUS as a service business model is concerned. I mean, just look at what IEA says. They say that it'll be impossible to reach the climate ambition and goal without carbon capture, utilization, storage in play. If you look at the installed capacity today for CCS or CCUS, where we need to be in less than 10 years in 2030 is already a 16 to 17 times growth that we need to achieve. By 2050 ambition, what people say at net zero ambition, if we want to get there, we need a minimum of 95 times growth in the CCUS opportunity. Based on certain assumptions, this is over $1 trillion business opportunity today. So I think there is absolutely no doubt of opportunity out there. But really, the key is around the business model. The technology is something that our company is solving. Equinor has been sort of supporting and working with TCM for such a long time. There is enough data out there from a storage perspective. But I guess the business models are evolving now, and they need to evolve fast. And this is really where our business model, our technology as a service, CCUS as a service business model comes into play. The key factor here is the assimilation of demand. What's happening today is you've got lots and lots of customers, be it energy from waste, be it steel, be it cement. A lot of these companies emitting anywhere between 50,000 to, let's say, 200,000 tons per year of CO2 emissions. These are industrial companies. They are committed. They are putting a roadmap out towards decarbonization, which is a continuous growth of ambition as far as decarbonization is concerned. And on the other side, you have world-leading projects like Northern Lights, where almost everything is ready for people to send in the CO2. But I think there is a gap there, which is where the finance and the experience of execution really comes into play, and that's the gap that we are now joining our hands to fill up. This is really where the business model of CCUS as a service comes in place. This is really where connecting the need for emitters versus the capacity that's already coming up or storage comes into play, and this is really where we can come and play a very, very important role. To effect that and to actually make it happen, we are already making progress. So, Carbon Clean Solutions, I'm very excited to announce and release a tool here, which we call as a carbon capture cost online tool assessment. The biggest issue for any company to figure out whether carbon capture is for them or not, and if yes, then what's the cost? The biggest issue for them is to actually figure out whether this is something they can afford, right? What's the capital cost? What's the operating cost? What's the space requirement? What are the utilities requirements? How much CO2 capture can they capture today or tomorrow or next year, the year after? What's that growth pattern? So to be able to solve this first layer of issue, we've just launched an online tool. It's now available on our website. You can go and click in, feed in the data of your flue gas, feed in the site locations, and if you're in Europe, we will most likely in less than 4 seconds, we'll be able to tell you what will be your capital cost and what will be your operating cost. And hence you'll be able to get to $1 per ton or £1 per ton or euro per ton cost of carbon capture specific to your site. So we're making it easier for industrial emitters to understand what would it take from their side to be able to capture the carbon dioxide. And then, of course, we are there as bringing the business model where we would set up everything for the customers. We'll bring the finance, and then we will definitely be operating the assets over a very, very long period of time. The question you would be asking is like, why you? Why do you think you'll be able to do that? And the simple answer I would say, or I would give there, is because of the strong partnerships. Apart from the technology the company has developed and we are commercializing, apart from the backing we have got from our investors like Equinor, Marubeni from Japan, Chevron Corporation, Wave Equity Partners, or ICOS Capital. Apart from all of that, we've got a very strong first user customer base. There are companies, so to give you a quick example, in past 3 months, we have signed on 2 of the titans in the cement and concrete business, Lafarge Holcim and Cemex. And we're working with both of them on different projects to deliver the business model of CCUS, or carbon capture, utilization, and storage as a service. We are co-investing with these customers. So we've already got the experience of delivering this for anyone who is interested in decarbonizing their site and trying out the new business model where the whole spectrum of service could be provided as a service, as a kind of an ongoing operating cost. I would probably move that towards an end and leave ample time for questions. Again, I'd like to thank the audience and the organizers of Decarb Connect Festival for giving us the opportunity to come and talk about the innovation, especially the business model innovation we are bringing out, how we are solving the problem of capital for a lot of the industrial emitters, and how we are making it very easy for them to adopt carbon capture and utilization storage as a way of decarbonizing and planning the decarbonization for their sites. Thank you. Thank you to all the audience for tuning in to our session. My co-panelist Siri from Equinor is not able to join because of technical issues and difficulties, but then I'm here to answer the questions. A couple of questions that I'm seeing here, very interesting questions already coming up. The first one is on cement plants. So do you have experience in application of your technology to cement plants, and what would be the abatement cost of a cement plant? So the answer is we've had a very good demonstration with a cement company, and very soon you would hear about the projects that we will be announcing with cement plants. We of course have signed a partnership with Dalmia Cements as long as 2 years back. Last quarter we announced a partnership with Lafarge Holcim in Europe and Cemex again in Europe. So you would hear about more and more projects on cement. As far as the abatement cost for a cement plant is concerned, I think it's very much location specific and location dependent, because as you know, a good chunk of carbon capture cost, that dollar per ton cost, is actually the utilities, electricity and heat, and all the other things that are basically go into a carbon capture cost. So it's very much dependent on the location. The next question is, how does the carbon clean technology actually capture the carbon? Good question. At Carbon Clean, we have developed a new process, a patented, much more compact technology, which I mentioned and talked about in our presentation. What we are trying to do is compress the size of the carbon capture equipment really significantly, anywhere between 8 to 10 times, which will give you much more smaller footprint, and you'll be able to fit this carbon capture technology at the cement plants or at other industrial emitters. The way it works is fairly simple. The principle remains what has been around for some time, which is you absorb the carbon dioxide in a chemical, and then you heat this mixture of chemical and carbon dioxide to just about 100 degrees Celsius, and at that point of time, CO2 is emitted back, and you reuse the chemical. What we are doing, which is significantly different, is actually we are increasing the rate kinetics very significantly, so that you can compress the size of the equipment. So I guess that's one. And second, we're bringing a new chemical to the industry, which is environmentally benign. It's low corrosive, low on corrosion, and is very low on the degradation profile. I guess the question is, what have you learned about how to work with big companies from the first projects with chemical and cement companies? Good question. I guess couple of things that we've learned about big companies or working with big companies is the need for a plan. I think as a small company, as a company which is bringing technology to a very large company, we generally need to agree on a plan, a roadmap. Big companies have a long-term view. They want to focus on something that is potentially a 10+ year time scale. And on the other side, smaller companies like Carbon Clean, they basically operate on a 5-year type time scale. So I guess matching those timeframes is the most important thing. So number one, and number two, having a common plan of how the decarbonization would work. How would we help them scale up, or how would they sort of evaluate every single scale up that we are doing with them at every single site? So I guess that's quite important. Another question that came out was, what cost reductions do you envisage for carbon capture technologies by 2030? I think it's a very interesting question. And really the answer, I mean, if you would ask me, the answer could be as high as 50 to 70% from where we are. I mean, there is no reason why the carbon capture technologies will not follow a path that solar industry or the wind industry actually followed. If we talk about our product and what we're doing at this point of time ourselves, we as I mentioned in my presentation, we are coming up with a modularized, containerized unit that you could actually manufacture at one location and then just keep replicating one over the other. So as we keep replicating these units and as we keep building more and more of the capacity, we fully expect that the price and the cost will actually come down very significantly. I guess the second driver would be with the business model. So in the presentation, we talked about the CCUS as an affordable service. I think that is a very important business model innovation that we believe will provide the economies of scale for scaling up carbon capture, utilization, storage as a service. And with our partners and investors like Equinor, I think we will be able to actually replicate this or bring this to the market fairly quickly and fairly soon. A question that came out was, can you elaborate on CO2 concentrations? As you know, CO2 in cement stack fumes is less than 20%. What is the expected CO2 percentage after capture? So this actually depends on the host site and what the objectives are. A standard approach is to try and capture 90% of the carbon dioxide in the flue gas stream that you're getting in. I guess what we are doing differently here is we're trying to understand if we can make carbon capture cost efficient versus trying to follow the standard line of 90% carbon capture. So I guess it absolutely depends on what you as a site owner want to do and what's your cost target and what's your required capture rate. Another question that came out, we are a small tech company trying to get our first live project. What advice do you have for securing our first partner? I guess here, I certainly would advise choosing your partners very carefully. Choosing a partner, especially that's ready to buy into the vision of what you're trying to do. I mean, I would still say Carbon Clean is a fast-growing company, and that's the reason you would see that we have such a strong focus on the partnership. So, for example, our partnership with Equinor and bringing out this new joint business model of carbon capture utilization as a service, where the end users do not invest in the project, we invest in the project, and give the benefit to the industrial companies. So it's really key selective partners very carefully. Another question that came out is, what is the planned lifespan of your equipment? And it is fully recyclable. Good question. I mean, we try and work on a equipment lifespan of about 25 years. And as you would, you probably expect, this is most of it is made up of steel, which at the end you could actually recycle and reuse as well. So yeah, the answer is yes, you can do that. Another question that came out was about the carbon capture assessment tool. I cannot find it on homepage. I would appreciate a link. Absolutely. I mean, look, I would certainly be very happy to send you the link. If you go on our website, on the right hand top side, there is actually a section, talk to an expert, and you can put in a request. We are currently launching the tool. It's fairly new, so we are actually working with our customers, especially the first few customers, to actually exactly understand what the requirement is, and then help them understand how to use the tool. And hence, you would not find it on the homepage. But if you say if you go to the talk to an expert, then you will be able to get there. Question that came out was, does your carbon capture assessment tool account for the flue gas composition effect on degradation of solvent and hence operating cost? Yes, it does. Just a quick background on this tool. The way we have actually built this tool is actually based on quite a lot of historical data that we have already got, and quite a lot of historical work that we've done. So we've actually packed all that knowledge and information in the assessment tool, so that you can actually get access to the information, which is really crisp in a very short span of time. I've just got a warning that the time is about to get over, and before I get sort of pulled aside, I think it's time to wrap up. I'll be very happy to answer any questions you have. Again, would like to thank the team at Decarb Connect Festival for giving us the opportunity, and thank you so much for listening.